Hey there, I'm Sarah, 28, and crushing it in the marketing world. And the best part? I just got engaged to Mark, the man of my dreams. He's an insanely talented architect, the kind of guy whose smile could melt glaciers. We've been together for 2 years, and every day has been amazing. But I've got to be honest, my family life, it's complicated. My dad passed away when I was a kid, so it's been just me and my mom, Linda, against the world. Don't get me wrong, I love her. But she has this habit of wanting to control every little thing in my life. When I introduced her to Mark, I was over the moon. This guy is everything. But Mom, she had this look, like she was mentally gearing up for battle. I brushed it off as her being protective, typical stuff, right? Now Mark's family? Totally different vibe. His mom, Jessica, is like this big, warm hug in human form. The first time I met her, she hugged me so tight I thought I might need a chiropractor. But in the best way. "Sarah, honey, welcome to the family," she'd said with a kind of twinkle in her eye that makes you want to melt. I've always wanted a daughter, and now I have one. I almost cried, feeling a kind of maternal warmth I hadn't known in years. But as Mark and I started planning the wedding, things got tricky. My mom started nitpicking. The venue? Too small. The flowers? Too tacky. And every time I mentioned Jessica, Mom's face would do this thing. This weird twitch. "What's the problem, Mom?" I finally asked after she made another snide comment about Jessica's dress for the engagement party. "Nothing, sweetie," she said, her smile as tight as my jeans after Thanksgiving. "I just want everything to be perfect for my little girl." I let it slide, chalking it up to pre-wedding stress. Weddings are stressful, right? No need to overthink. Then came the family dinner. Oh man, talk about awkward. We're sitting at this fancy restaurant Mark picked out, and I swear you could feel the tension across the table. My mom's sitting across from Jessica, and Jessica, being her sweet self, tries to make conversation. "So Linda, Sarah tells me you work in finance. That must be interesting." My mom's response, a forced smile and a stiff, "It pays the bills." I glanced at Mark, silently begging for help. He squeezed my hand under the table and jumped in with some story about a crazy client. God, I love him. The rest of the night was a minefield of passive-aggressive comments and awkward silences. By dessert, I was ready to bury my face in my tiramisu just to escape the tension. As we said our goodbyes in the parking lot, Mark pulled me aside. "You okay?" he asked, his brow furrowed with concern. "Yeah, that was weird, right?" I said, needing confirmation. "Definitely not just you," he chuckled, pulling me into a hug. "But hey, they're just being protective. It'll get better." I nodded, wanting to believe him. But as I watched our moms exchange stiff, almost robotic hugs, I couldn't shake this gut feeling that something was seriously off. Fast forward to a weekend of cleaning out my mom's attic, knee-deep in dust and old memories. It felt like an episode of Hoarders Up There. That's when I found it, a beat-up photo album buried behind stacks of ancient National Geographics. "Mom, what's this?" I called, flipping it open. And oh boy, was I not ready for what I found. There she was, young, carefree, arm in arm with some guy I'd never seen before. They looked happy, like the kind of happy I feel with Mark. "Oh, that's nothing," my mom said quickly, trying to take it from me, but I held on. "Mom, who is this guy?" "He's in like every picture." She sighed, her shoulders sinking. "That's Robert. He was my fiancé. A long time ago." My jaw dropped. "Fiancé? Mom, how come I've never heard about this?" She hesitated, her voice barely above a whisper. It was a different time. "Sarah, things didn't work out." Mom's voice was flat, but I could tell there was so much more buried beneath the surface. Classic Linda, clamming up like a bear trap. I knew pressing her wouldn't get me anywhere, so I let it slide for now. Meanwhile, Mark had his own family drama brewing. He called me later that night, his voice tight with stress. "Babe, you're not going to believe what just happened." I could hear the tension through the phone. "What's going on?" I asked my mom about the weird vibe between her and your mom at dinner, and she totally freaked out. My heart skipped a beat. "Freaked out? What do you mean?" She started crying. "Sarah, my mom never cries." Then she dropped this bomb on me, and you're not going to believe it. My stomach churned. "Try me. My dad, he was your mom's ex-fiancé. The one who broke off their engagement." I almost dropped the phone. "Wait, what? Are you serious? Dead serious, Mark said, sounding just as shaken. Mom said they met right after he ended things with your mom. It was a whirlwind. They got married fast. She said she's always felt guilty about it, but I felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. Mark, this is insane. What are we going to do? I think we need to talk to them, both of them, together. That's how we found ourselves in the most painfully awkward family meeting of all time. Mom, Jessica, Mark, and me, all crammed into our tiny living room. The tension was so thick, you could cut it with a knife. All right, we know, I said, breaking the silence. We know about Robert, about the engagement, everything. Mom's face went pale, while Jessica looked like she might be sick. You had no right. Mom spat at Jessica, her voice quivering with fury. No right to tell them. They deserve to know, Linda, Jessica replied softly, her eyes filled with regret. We can't keep living with this secret. Mom exploded. You stole him from me. You ruined my life. It wasn't like that, Linda, Jessica pleaded, her voice cracking. Robert had already ended things with you when we met. It just happened. But Mom wasn't hearing any of it. She was screaming, sobbing, throwing accusations like they were grenades. I had never seen her so raw, so broken. Mom, please, I begged, my voice trembling. This was decades ago. Can't we just? You don't understand, Sarah, she cried. He was the love of my life, and she took him away. I felt torn in two. One part of me wanted to comfort her, to soothe away the years of pain and bitterness. But the other part was furious. How could she have kept this from me? How could she let this bitterness poison what was supposed to be one of the happiest times of my life? Mark wasn't faring much better. He sat beside me, silent and shell-shocked, as though his entire world had just been flipped upside down. Why didn't you ever tell me, Mom? He finally asked, his voice barely a whisper. Jessica wiped away her tears. We thought it was best to leave the past in the past. We never imagined it would come to this. The room fell silent, the weight of decades-old secrets pressing down on all of us. I looked at Mark, saw the confusion and hurt in his eyes, and knew he was feeling the same storm of emotions. After that bombshell of a family meeting, things only got worse. Mom turned into a whirlwind of bitterness, stirring up trouble wherever she could. It started with whispers at church, sideways glances from people who had known us for years. Then one day at the grocery store, I overheard Mrs. Johnson gossiping in the next aisle. Did you hear about poor Linda? She was saying to her friend. Her daughter's marrying into the family that ruined her life. Can you imagine? I wanted to scream. Instead, I gripped the shopping cart until my knuckles turned white and got the hell out of there. Back home, I tried reasoning with Mom. This is ancient history. Can't you just let it go? She looked at me like I'd suggested we jump off a cliff. Let it go. Oh, Sarah, that woman stole my future. And now she's stealing my daughter too. Mom, that's not. It's me or them, Sarah. You can't have both. I won't be at that wedding if she's there. It felt like someone was tearing me in half. Mom, please. Don't make me choose. But she just turned away, leaving me standing there, feeling like a little kid all over again. Mark was my rock through all of this, but even he was starting to crack. Maybe we should just elope, he suggested one night, only half joking. I laughed, but it came out more like a sob. Don't tempt me. And then the accidents started happening. First, my wedding dress. Mom had offered to take it in for alterations, but when she brought it back, it was 3 sizes too small. Oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry, she'd said, her eyes wide with fake innocence. The seamstress must have made a mistake. Then our venue called, saying someone had canceled our reservation. I didn't need to guess who that someone sounded like. But the final straw was when Mark's ex, Amber, showed up at our door. Mark, is it true? Are you only marrying Sarah because she's pregnant? Mark's jaw dropped. What? Amber, where did you hear that? I felt my blood run cold. There was only one person who could have started that rumor. It all came to a head at our engagement party. Mom showed up uninvited, 3 sheets to the wind, spoiling for a fight. She stumbled into the room, slurring her words. There she is. She pointed at Jessica, her voice thick with venom. The homewrecker herself. The room fell into an icy silence. You could have heard a pin drop. Linda, please, Jessica started, but Mom wasn't done. She pointed at Jessica, voice trembling with rage. You took everything from me, my love, my future, and now my daughter. I saw Mark tensing beside me, ready to step in, but something inside me snapped. Years of pent-up frustration and resentment rose to the surface, and before I knew it, I was shouting. Enough. The word echoed in the stunned silence. That's enough, Mom. She blinked, her fury halting for a second, shock sobering her up fast. You want to know who's really ruining lives here? It's you. You and your bitterness. Your inability to let go of the past. Sarah, how dare you? Mom started, her voice shaking. But I wasn't finished. No, how dare you? I felt my voice crack, but I pressed on. How dare you try to sabotage the happiest day of my life because of something that happened before I was even born? How dare you spread lies and try to turn people against us? Mom's face crumpled, but I couldn't stop. It was like a dam had broken inside me. Jessica has been nothing but kind to me. She's more of a mother to me than you've been lately. And Mark. I glanced at him, feeling his steady presence beside me. He's the best thing that's ever happened to me. If you can't see that, if you can't be happy for me, then maybe you shouldn't come to the wedding after all. The room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Mom stared at me, her mouth opening and closing like a fish gasping for air. Then, without a word, she stormed out. Mark's arm wrapped around me, steadying me. Only then did I realize I was shaking. You okay? He whispered. I nodded, not trusting my voice. I had just stood up to my mom for the first time in my life, and it felt both terrifying and liberating. Jessica approached us, tears brimming in her eyes. Sarah, I'm so sorry. I never meant. I cut her off, wrapping her in a hug. It's not your fault. None of this is. As I looked around the room at the shocked faces of our guests, a realization hit me. This was it, a turning point. No more tiptoeing around Mom's feelings. No more letting her toxic behavior control our lives. After the engagement party fiasco, Mark and I made a decision. Enough was enough. We were going to elope, consequences be damned. We planned a secret ceremony, just us, our closest friends, and Mark's family. No drama. No Mom. Just love. Meanwhile, Mom's web of lies began to unravel. My friend Jen confessed that Mom had tried to turn her against me. That opened the floodgates. Suddenly, everyone had a story about Mom's manipulations. Karma hit her hard. The phone stopped ringing. Invitations dried up. Even her coworkers started keeping their distance. It was like the whole town had put her in a timeout. On our wedding day, Mom showed up at my empty apartment, frantic. She called everyone she could think of, desperate to find me. Finally, our nosy neighbor, Mrs. Perez, spilled the beans, probably savoring every second of it. Mark and I exchanged vows in a sun-drenched garden, surrounded by people who genuinely cared about us. Jessica's speech brought everyone to tears, gracefully acknowledging the past but focusing on the bright future ahead. As we kissed, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I was free from the drama, the toxicity, free to love Mark without any shadows looming over us. Later we heard that Mom had gotten into a fender bender driving home alone. It was almost like the universe was giving her a gentle tap on the shoulder, reminding her what happens when you try to wreck someone else's happiness. As Mark and I jetted off for our honeymoon, I felt a bittersweet mix of sadness and relief. I hoped that one day Mom would find peace, but for now I was focused on my future, on building a life with Mark based on love, trust, and freedom from all the toxic baggage of the past. This was a new chapter, and damned, did it feel good to turn the page. Now I've got a question for you. If you were Sarah, would you ever forgive Linda for her actions? Or is there a point where toxic behavior becomes unforgivable, even from a parent? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experiences and opinions might help others going through something similar. If you enjoyed this story and want more content like this, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring you more engaging stories and discussions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.